Alrighty, guys, welcome to this Friday, April 24th. Thank God it's Friday, right? It's been one heck of a roller coaster week, hasn't it? But it has been to the upside, and the outlook looks, well, positive. So we had, not sure exactly what this reaction was, around about 7 o'clock this morning. Market popped pretty hard, and it's been slowly drifting down. So there was some news event or some earnings report or something came out there, and then it created that big reaction to the upside. Nasdaq took off to the upside, but made new highs, slowly drifting down. But man, it's price discovery territory. I love that. That's just great. So it just starts the day off in a good way. Let's see if we can hold on to that. That's going to be the only question, right? AMD reported earnings, I guess. They're up $35. And yeah, so AMD is popped massively. They gapped up, I guess. That's the only thing I can see on the stock list there, which really sticks out. So I guess they had great earnings, going to drag everything with it. Unfortunately, I don't own a bunch of AMD. But if you are, you'll be smiling, right? If you are, you will be smiling. So news this morning. The only thing we got going is consumer sentiment at 10. That's it. And other than that, we're just going to be falling back on whatever the market is up to. Earnings reports and headlines from the conflict, and I will see. So yesterday we started the overnight range bound. We had it pretty darn crazy yesterday, didn't we? They were up there for a bit, then we had this big sell-off middle of the day when some news came out. And then they went back down again. There's a rumor has that some Iranian delegation is on the way again to Pakistan. But you can see here, they did back and forth. But it looks like we have a good edge here at the 70-80. It's starting to turn into some sort of an edge here. I haven't done much with it just yet, just kind of watching it. But we've been probing down here a few times. And you can see on this lower end, they run down here at the 70-85, 70-75. These are the two levels we've been talking about for a potential directional change. And so far, they've been right down there probing. Yes, you can see yesterday's right in J period, right into it, and then reverse the whole thing right away. So and now we're right back up to the highs again. So headlines gets the market spooked, and then it looks like they are every ounce of weakness is getting bought, and the market is trading higher. It just tells you that the market is looking way past this and not worrying about it. It's going to work out just fine. So given the overnight and they backed off, I would start with the bias to the upside. I mean, I would emphasize range bound trading. The ES hasn't quite busted through it. The highs just yet, they probed above it and then got knocked down. Nasdaq though is above it, so Nasdaq could be the one driving this whole thing higher. But right now it looks to me like, yeah, I'm going to fold this guy together again as well. You see how this distribution on the upside. So the lower end here, that the 70, 75, and 85, that's the lower end of this range. That's the one to pay attention to right now. They come out, I would start worrying about the short side. Other than that, I would be range bound. I would stay with the bias to the upside. Right now, I would just emphasize range bound trading on the ES because it has been stuck in this range for a bit. But if you see Nasdaq trade higher and the ES starts taking out this high, I would just stay on the long side and see how far they can take it. So looking to buy weakness against the 7160s, the 40s, the 20s, the 7100s, and then 70, 85, 70, 75. Those are the two lower edges we have to pay attention to. That takes out this area. And I'll mark it up here on the F1 so it's obvious. This is the area I'm talking about right there. All right. So if this area comes out on the way down, I would start thinking about, I would take off the long bias. If it starts trading below the 70-30, maybe we have something bigger going on. But they start taking out that 70-75 level, and we're going to shift our bias back to the short side, look for a retracement trade. Could have an elevator down day and then running right into this lower area. So, but right now the market looks pretty darn positive. And remember, we're coming out of some pretty gritty churning back and forth in the market. Remember, they've been going back and forth and a lot of selling rotations in the stock market. So a lot of churning going on, and So they're making new highs, and they just started like a week ago. So I think we are well on our way here. We have probably a little bit left to go here, unless we get the massive, nasty curveball. That would be the one which is going to derail the whole thing. But other than that, stay on the long side. And Nasdaq, big move to the upside. I'm thinking this is the AMD earnings and the semiconductors. AMD popping through $30. That just tells you they had a great forecast, and they're forecasting a lot of chip sales. And they're getting sucked into this AI trade. I mean, I was looking at AMD down there, like what was it, 80 or 120 or something like that. But these guys had the hardest time. I mean, if you owned AMD then, you would just be miserable because they were not going anywhere. They were just grinding and grinding and grinding. Nvidia's the rocketing, and these guys just grinding and grinding. But I mean, they always had the shot, and eventually they're going to catch on and you get some of that AI, the piece of that AI pie, and it looks like they're finally getting it now. So. Right now, Nasdaq popped here. We have been making new highs a couple of days. Yesterday was a little bit more of a holding day. They took out the extended just a little bit, but you can see here at the overnight now we are right back up in price discovery. So I would just stay on the long side on the Nasdaq. This guy is on fire, and we'll see just how far they're going to take this. So price extensions and the move out of the middle to the upside. Do not step in front of it. Trade it from the long side. Anytime you have a move out of the middle, remember, you don't want to step in front of it. You want that to settle. You want to find the top end, it cuts off the buying. Then you have the retracement, cutting off the selling. You know the routine. That's just the default. Process of building a profile. Move out of the middle, stage one. Looking for it. In this case, since they're trading higher, spot to cut off the buying. Then you're going to retracement and spot cut off the selling, and then we have it start going back and forth in a range. Right now we are still in a move out of the middle to the upside. So we'll see if they cut off buying already or not. But pretty freaking spectacular, I have to say. So stay on the long side on this one. See how far they can take it. On the short side, on the ES, the only one on the ES I would say is against that 71.85, maybe up to the 90s here. Since they haven't quite taken it out and stayed above it, but I would be doing that with a bit of caution. I would favor the long side on both ES and Nasdaq. Just trade Nasdaq from the long side and trade ES range bound with the bias to the upside and favor the long side there. I think that's a better bet. Doesn't mean that you can't get the big run out. When the market kicks in and you get this big flush to the downside. You just have to watch for those. I mean, you see me get stuck in those before. When you're looking at everything looks good, you buy in the pullback, you repair it once, and suddenly you have a bar down here at the mode like just a massive rundown, and you can't protect yourself against that. That's just if that an algo is going to do that, then you're just going to get run out, and that's why you keep a tight stop. You get out early, reassess, and you can always re-engage after that. But those suck, those trades, when you get stuck in a spot like that. But eventually you'll be on the right side of one of those as well, and you'll be smiling as well. Bond market, pretty much range bound, as we said. There's nothing much going on with that one. I'm just watching for my setups on that one. Setups like these, 2 bars. I want a third bar there, and then I click in my order. If they can't extend like that, then you get a nice ledge to lean against. And if that keeps going, that could be a problem. But there's the reason why I just keep clipping it off like that. So trying to get in at the edge there is usually a pretty high probability trade. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But usually it's a high probability trade. The only caveat is if you have a market which has been moved by market makers or dealers. You don't want to be careful, like in auction day, you want to be careful about that stuff. But that's kind of setups I'm looking for. So trading that one, as you can tell, I haven't been super aggressive on it lately. When it sets up, I'll try it. If I miss it, you don't chase the bond market. That's going to be usually a costly mistake. So back on the cryptos, not much to say about those. found an interesting thing. I'm trading it, so I'm trading it, a little bit more aggressive than I should, just to see if I can run into some problems. And yesterday I did find a problem. It was an interesting thing, so I fixed that. But I was kind of watching it, and so you have on the top left here, you have silver, you have gold, and then you have oil below it on the left hand side, and you have Bitcoin, Ethereum on the right hand side. So, and I have profiles for these in the background as well. So a little bit crowded, but you're just kind of watching it. And the reason the chart looks like it is, I repeated that before, is because I'm using volume bars on these and not equi bars. So it's not, so they're always going to be fixed size. And yeah, I'm opted back to candlesticks. I'm going back and forth if I want to use a bid ask like I use on a NASDAQ, or I was going to use a candlestick for it. It's kind of, it's going to go back and forth a bit, trying to figure out which one is the better one. But I'm watching it, and you can see silver is to the upside, gold is to the upside, oil is sold off a little bit. And as you can see, oil matches up pretty good with the CME contract. So these trade the same as the silver at the other contract, a little bit lighter on volume though, or a lot lighter on volume, I should say. But there's no data fees or anything like that going on. Commissions rates a little bit high on them. That's the only thing. You have to have a bigger trade on gold and silver for it to pay off. Otherwise, you make money. You can make money that's lose on commission. So that is the downside right now with it. All right, back to the ES and the NASDAQ, and so we are kind of where we left it. Okay, it looks like we found a bit of support here at the 7170s and drifting a little bit higher. Let's see where they're going to go from here. So then alongside on the ES and NASDAQ, ES kind of need to take out the 71, 85 to 90s as well before we really get on the long side on that one. But NASDAQ is in a pretty good spot and definitely extending to the upside. Alrighty, guys, we'll leave it there. So good trading, and I will see you guys back at 11:30 for the next update later.